Hey, it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. I want to zoom in on the experience of the target in this video and how the cycle is perpetuated, the abuse cycle is perpetuated. Oftentimes, since the target, the victim, wants to please the abuser, they want to continue the relationship, they want to work on it. They're willing to go above and beyond for this person. They're willing to take a little bit of dirt with the fall. They're ready to really, put on their gloves and fight in order to maintain the relationship. Well, hence, it's this very approach, this determination that oftentimes perpetuates and really ingrains the cycle of abuse for the target, beyond where they should have allowed themselves to remain in and stay in the relationship. Now, within that cycle, we've also discussed the love bombing, the discarding, and then the detachment. The love bombing, the devaluing, and then the discarding, which is basically, then we have to go into a detachment mode in order to heal. So really, I think if you could add a fourth recovery step, it would be learning to detach. In fact, I think I'm going to make a note of that. Very important. Anyway, you got to learn to detach. That's hopefully one tool you can get out of this, our series here today. Because really what happens is that since the narcissist always wants to take front seat, they always want to be the one driving. They always want to be the one who's in control. They want the other to be the passenger. They want their target to be the passenger and feel basically second fiddle, second best, and really kind of like a follower to the narcissist. And what ends up happening for that abused person is they end up becoming silenced in the abuse. They make a lot of efforts, making a lot of attempts to gain equal footing in the relationship. When those attempts don't work, the target, hangs in there by a shred, and continues to try to appease the narcissist. But what ends up happening is the target, the abused, just ends up zipping their lip. They end up not speaking up. They end up getting then detached from, or severed really from their own needs. And what ends up happening is the narcissist then gets a clue and says, you know what, this target is no longer going to be good for me, because they're eventually going to be wise to what I'm doing, and I better get some new fresh supply. What a statement, huh? So you have to realize that when this cycle ensues, that you're going to have to find your voice. And sorry, I just have something here I was referring to. Oh yes, and I had just made a note, kind of in my studies, is that the once a target will remain with a narcissist for some time, they end up absorbing, basically ingraining the identity of a victim. So as these cycles continue and continue and continue, and the target is silenced through this abuse, in other words, they're shut down, more or less. They're kind of shut down. When some people say shut it down, that's kind of what it happens in the narcissist relationship. So the person ends up, the target, which is a person. Gosh, guys, you're a person. Whoever the target is, the supply, come on, you're a person. The person ends up shutting down, but then what ends up happening is when they maintain that, they end up creating basically an identity of a victim. And that's when, an abuser has really kind of got a hold on them, a stranglehold. When then the target's identity, meaning who they think they are, who they feel they are, where they're emotionally at, where their mindset is at, where their spirit is at, is like, I am a victim. That becomes then their role, and this role is like subservient to the narcissist. And it's like a role that they can never get out from under. The target can never get out from under that role, Because if they constantly stay in the abuse and then they're constantly ingrained that, they're constantly rewarded that from the narcissist. In other words, you're my victim. I mean, some people like laugh and say, you know, do you want to be my slave? Or, you know, I mean, literally these people will take people captive. They will take their supply captive, and it'll get worse and worse. The boundaries will get more and more violated. And then what ends up happening is the supply begins up feeling more and more shut down, silenced, and really bringing a victim mentality in everything that they do. And I just had one other note here. Hold on one second. Here we go. I just had a note. And in that what ends up happening then at this stage of the game, at this stage of the cycle, is that the victim, and thank you for holding there for a moment, the victim ends up required to be supportive of the narcissist regardless. So even through their abuse, even through their victimization, they're expected to continue to be supportive of the narcissist. Do you guys hear me there? Do you guys feel me on this? It is really, I think I've had other viewers say it's like a one-sided relationship. It's like a, and that's an interesting way to put it. I appreciate your comments. But it truly is, because even in the abuse, even in the shutdown process, and before the detachment, in that true victim status, the victim, the supply, is required to still be emotionally supportive of their abuser. And so that is what is so soul-crushing, is that they're expected to continue in that role, even though they've been completely used up, even though their soul has been completely annihilated, you know, completely attacked. Their expectation is to be continually supportive of that narcissist. And until you detach, I'm going to add that onto the fourth step of this narcissist cycle. Until you detach, you're forever going to be in that perpetual cycle, and the wounds are going to beget more wounds, more wounds, and it's going to just get worse and basically start to fester and get toxic, and it's going to become infected, and it's going to be just it's going to become more pronounced that it's going to take a longer process in the healing. You want to avoid that at all costs. Detach from the narcissist. Peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.